Hey, the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up. Finger to the sky and a
Well, race fans, we're looking high above here tonight at Icon Sim Sports. Shit Can Break Racing League here and now on PTM Racing TV, where we're about to see the battle commence as the points race continues to get tighter and tighter. There is only a few spots left in the playoff championship hopes for many of these drivers, but which one will be able to walk away with a W? Find out now here and live on PTM Racing TV. Hi everyone, I am Christian Casero Driver, and welcome back to the show as always. As we get prepared to go battling it out here tonight, we're going to see on the lineup here for the start, Derek Whitford in the number 44 will be your number 1 seed. The outside of him will be Keith Whitford in the number 96. Row number 2 is going to be Aiden Doyle in the 24 is outside. Dave Shipley in the 85. Row number 3 is going to be Andrew Griesbaum in the 78 is outside. That will be Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. Row number 4 is going to be Rocky Harpence, and the 71 is outside. Brandon Sheffield and the Toots End. Row number 5, Cole Williamson. The 7 is outside. Brad Ward in the 17. Row number 6 is going to be Daniel Walker, and the 5 is outside. There'll be Daniel Whitford in the 21. Row number 7 is going to be Hayden Hopp, and the 81 is outside. That'll be Brody Gunter in the number 01. Row number 8 is going to be Kevin Whitford, and the 18 is outside. Edward Kane, the 39. Final starters, Nick Baresi in the 66, outside him. Bill Matthews in the 75. Race fans, it's time to get to the action. Time to get to the field here now. We've got ourselves a hot one. 18 drivers locked into the position here tonight, ready to go at it here on the showcase. It's going to be interesting to see just who is able to muster up the speeds and muster up the runs here as we wheeling them off out of turn number 4 to the green flag start. We're off and running. It's time to go racing. Derek Whitford has the advantage out of the gate here. He'll move his way up the field, up the chains, back straightaway right now. Currently, Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. trying to get up there with him. Brendan Sheffield, the number 96, continuing to trying to hammer down, trying to build the speed up there. There's a little bit of a blink, unfortunately, cost him a little bit of time, but it doesn't seem to affect him too badly. Dave Shipley, the 85, continues to hold off. Lawrence Shaughnessy right now trying to keep up in the pace here in the middle of the gate here. Is only rocking at 6th place for the start tonight, but again, a big factor playing in is that he is one of the elite field drivers that are trying to hang into the rest of this field. Their playoff hopes. And there's so much that can go at stake, so much that can go down on the field. There's a lot, it's taking a lot to play out. That can certainly give themselves a lot of trouble in the headaches here. Punching their ticket off in the corners here. Remember, a win here tonight can help get you one step closer to that season championship coming very, very soon here. And obviously, I believe they will be kind of following the same format that the Cup Series did. We saw what Kyle Larson did in the number 5 earlier on today at Texas, getting that W in the crown to make sure he can head down to the championship run coming very, very soon, and addicted of what he wants to do. Coming on the outskirts here, still no one giving an inch here, no one giving everything in between. Got a crowd across around the track here. Oh, look out down though. We got some problems down there. Looks like a couple drivers getting tangled in between one another. The 0-1 of Brody Gunter getting caught off guard there with one of the other drivers here. Couldn't quite make out who that was. We'll take a look at the PTM replay though and see what happened here. Looks like a little bashing and banging there. The 71, unfortunately, that is Rocky Hartens. Getting into one of the playoff drivers there. I don't think by any means of that intentional, but it definitely was a little bit hard to watch, unfortunately, because again, when you're a playoff driver, the last thing any of your fans or yourself want to be thinking about is getting caught into a big pickle and a bit of a bit situation that can cost you dearly. That's the worst place to end up at. That's the worst area to end up being in, and you definitely don't want nothing to do with it. Everyone is still keeping up their ground and keeping up their momentum here. Still a lot of time left to play out, and still a lot of playing to go around the track. So everyone starts to regroup, reset here. The big thing here tonight, obviously, this is the championship round. This is one of the championship races that can help punch your ticket one step closer to that big dance there coming at Phoenix. And the season championship is definitely one of the most prestigious events that any driver could go after, try to win out in a timely fashion. Getting into the round of 8 here tonight. Obviously, they're going to Texas, Kansas, then Martinsville, and then of course that big championship race at Phoenix lays in wait. But right now your top drivers, Jaden Hopp is currently ahead in the point standing, while Derek Whitford and Brody Gunter and Andrew Griesbaum are right in the mix of it. Only difference is top 4 are separated out by a mere 76 points. Aiden Doyle with 40-12, Keith Whitford with 40-08, Daniel Walker in 40-05, and David Shipley 40-01. The other 8 currently 89 difference points for the 8 positions here. So Shipley needs a big field day here, and he's doing a pretty good job so far dealing with the early struggles of what's been happening behind him. But again, you know, there's so much that you got to worry about more than you realize until it just kind of boils down to, it kind of comes in on yourself. Cole Williamson, the number 7 right now, moving up on the outside line. The 7 Castro, excuse me, not Castro, the Great Krispy Kreme Donuts machine still hanging up there as Jaden Hopp and the 81 follows right behind him here. Hopp had a pretty good season in his own right, just didn't manage to rack up enough victories, enough wins to keep it in the playoff contention, the playoffs hope. Thankfully, though, there's still plenty of opportunity and chances to really strike it big and strike it hard when he can find it. We'll see if that is the case here in due time. Down across the front straightaway, down across that back straightaway here still as we are tuned in live here for the second time really with Shake and Bake Racing League for a live session here on YouTube. We do appreciate those that are tuned in right now watching with us here. Obviously not just the Texas Motor Speedway but also on the fans list right now watching the live stream. If you guys do like what you see and enjoy the content, subscribe to YouTube here. You'll see this race in its entirety as well on Facebook later on, but come on, I think you guys want it more than anything. You want to subscribe here to YouTube where you catch all the action and you'll never miss a beat, never miss a race when it goes live and in style. We broadcast every single one of these races live either on YouTube or Facebook, depending on the viewer's choice, and we'll send them to either way we go. To be honest with you, I do like pulling them a little bit more on YouTube because at least it makes for a little more interesting setup and interesting stuff to use with. Off the corners here right now, the 0-1 Brody Gunter, a playoff driver currently dealing with the 66 of Nick Barassi. Barassi right now has been pretty much eyeing taking over that 12th place spot and he's given some good runs on the inside corner there. Another crossover maneuver delivered there into turn 3. And the crossover on these starts on this track is extremely difficult to maintain and master, but you can see the 66 Civil Tech machine, he had no trouble doing it. Really made a monkey out of that one and made a big position off of the corners. He had no troubles whatsoever, but again, you know, this cathedral of a track really goes down to one thing, and that's how well can you manage your tires and how long before your tires just get burnt to shreds. That has always been the fear and the name of the game here with these guys. But they're doing a great job of it right now, keeping themselves in rhythm and in play. Right now, our lone Canadian, Brad Ward, in the number 17 Ford Mustang. Well, actually that's the 87 Ford Mustang, considering that's not a 17 on that, that's an 87, but that's okay. The Lorco machine, you can never count out that Lorco 87 though. He is still hanging in there. Aiden Doyle trying to defend him off, trying to back him back a few spots. Aiden Doyle being a playoff contender driver. I would have to say probably more than anything he realizes that it's really just he's found himself in the most difficult circumstances and the most insane of circumstances when it comes to how he races and how he battles it out with the best of drivers. And I don't think necessarily that's a bad thing by any means, but I think in some ways it regards to being kind of a crazy thing. Because you're really just kind of keeping your target off on yourself, and it ends up still finding a way to get on your back here. Derek Whitford right now, the other playoff driver here, if he could just get a win here tonight. My, will he pretty much be all settled in and nice and cozy for a little while. I honestly have to kind of retract my statement. I don't believe if you win a race here, you actually will lock into the next spot. I believe it's kind of formatted where it's all based on points, which if it is, I would like that a little bit better because the win in your in system can be a bit troublematic, shall we say? That's the way I could really explain it anyway. Lawrence Lagnassi there, junior, in the number 9, continuing to build up momentum and build up speed here. Edward Kane, the number 39, driving the 10 tonight. Still has a little bit of company behind him there. That's Jaden Hopp right behind him as you see him on the onboard camera. The 81 has been kind of looking for an opening, looking for a runoff if we can find it. Keith Whitford here making some maneuvers, making some runs off. No problem whatsoever there. But again, you know, is that really going to last out the long run? These tires take an extreme tense heat and build up on the track, and it just gets extremely difficult to work around and have to fight off against for a variety of reasons. But I would say so far anyway, at least from what I'm seeing, it seems like they've been able to keep things cool and keep themselves under pacing wise. This being 130 laps, obviously, it's going to definitely pace down to building up momentum and building up a run when you can. Battling back and forth now. A little bit of an opening arises there. The 85, David Shively. He's way off the pace here. He is starting to fall back a little bit more. Andrew Griesbaum now looking to possibly make him pay for that. There's one thing you don't do around here is give openings or give opportunities to any driver that is willing to make a runoff on you. And you're seeing it here and now, my friends. This is just incredible battle per se, and battle between each other. No one wants to lose out. No one wants to give in. But Griesbaum not able to make the pass just yet here. He's going to have a little bit more work to do as we go to the onboard camera here. Now it'll be Griesbaum on the outside. He's got a run. He's got a seam. He's got some speed built into the key. Can he get it going? Oh, he certainly will indeed. Nicely done there. Coming off a turn through 3 and 4. Managing to make it work. And actually, Jaden Hopp actually managing to make a little bit of a work too for his end, because he actually passes in Edward King at 39 with no troubles whatsoever. The race there, Derek Whitford is pretty much locked and loaded right now, and he's been hanging in this one. Aiden Doyle, the number 24, still maybe looking for an opportunity to strike her a little bit of help or two. Still got quite a few fans holding in with us here, so kind of folks trickling in as we go. Again, honestly, it is an honor and pleasure to have you all on board once again here. I know I say it too often now, but you just never realize like how much these these people out here really mean to the business, mean to the careers and all our lives really is. And I gotta believe these drivers know that all too well. That's why they're trying to put on the best kind of show and the best kind of run, while also still battling for a championship race. And obviously dealing with that added pressure. I mean, on track too, that like we've already talked about it before, but Texas Motor Speedway is not really the most fondly looked at track when it comes to any schedule for that matter. But why is that? Well, if I'm going to take a quick little breather here and let the drivers kind of battle it out, Keith Whitford in the 06 and Andrew Griesbaum looking to maybe make a move off of one another. I think there's a variety of reasons for that, but I think honestly probably the best video to go to right now to look that up probably would be the Iceberg's YouTube channel. Honestly, if you watch his videos about why people dislike Texas Motor Speedway, you probably can get a better assumption than what I'm going to give you. But I think the best way I can describe it is it feels like it's a track without a home. It really is a track without a place, like a meaning to it. It's been reconfigured to where drivers ended up just having more troubles with it than it was worth. It ended up giving more a headache than most wanted to give it. And despite, the luxuries and everything that kind of comes with this place, it just never really stood as a track that, people wanted to go to after a set amount of time. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that the racing here is just not as good as what it could be. But I think the biggest thing is really just because of where it all started, where it all began. It really was not a track that, had gotten a lot of people's attention, other than the irony that it ended up taking 2 historic tracks off the list. I mean, Rockham Speedway was a very big popular track. That got unfortunately taken out due to other circumstances where drivers had to basically, NASCAR had to find find an open area and find an open seat here for the drivers to go out and run off with. And also North Wilkesboro, Main and Tail, was having to be booted off because of the fact that it was wanting to have another date. I mean, we said it before. Fontana ended up, having to kind of help giving a little bit of that problem to get rid of, Rockingham Auto Club. But Texas, my opinion, was also kind of the whole real start of it because it got rid of North Wilkesboro and it ended up making sure that, New Hampshire Motor Speedway got a second date, but North Wilkesboro never got that date. So, there's a lot of controversial history that comes with it. I'm not going to get into it, obviously, here on race here tonight, but it's kind of sad though that that's kind of where the legacy of this track is boiled down to, and then the configuration of it did not do itself any justice. There's actually right now we're seeing a bit of a justice down here with Brandon Sheffield and Aiden Doyle, while with Lawrence Shaughnessy right now falling in behind Derek Whitford. Not exactly feeling too keen about his race lead here. It could equal the odds up. But the first time these drivers ever had to play race on this track here, the track was configured horribly and actually caused a lot of wreck fests on the first laps or so. And fans weren't happy, the drivers weren't happy, and obviously they just wanted to get things figured out. They spent so much money on it. It was like, what was the point of building this place? And that's kind of my point of it too. But when all is said and done and they finally got track figured out, it produced some good racing to an extent, but it wasn't like perfect by any means. And now unfortunately it just kind of lays out here in Fort Worth, Texas as a track that just kind of feels lifeless, a void, if you will. But nevertheless, I'll tell you one thing. Even though I made that little sad story up, sad little story kind of brought up, I will say these drivers here of the Shake and Bake Racing League Icon Sim Pro Sports Series, boy, they are certainly putting on a show, putting on a little bit of a battle. Every driver for themselves trying to make their way up to the front once again. And there is an added part of Texas that is truly a challenge, and the challenge to me has always been, how well can you watch the tire burning, how much can you tire saving? Because there's really two angles on the way you run the track, and you back your corners up in turn 1 and 2, but then 3 and 4 you can pretty much just let it rip and let it have at it. The only downside is you also wear and tear the car up a lot more often than not, and it ends up giving you more troubles than it may be worth. Still building up a lot of run here. Brandon Sheffield, he's not in the playoffs anymore, but he certainly would like to make you think that way because of how hard he is catching up there to Derek Whitford. Whitford is doing everything he can in his power right now to hold him back. Whitford, though, knows there's still plenty of chances to strike hard and strike big when you find them. Just a matter of which one will find it. Number 9, Lawrence here now going to deal with that 24. Out of Aiden Doyle. Aiden Doyle, though, he is still in contention and a chance of a lifetime to become a champion as well. And Doyle actually overtaking him once more and building up a lot of speed around the track. Looking back at everything here too tonight here, folks, again, you just got to kind of remember here that the points race going in is extremely tight as it is difficult to really just comprehend because there's just so much going on out here. For guys like Whitford or Doyle, they need all the points they can get to stay in that running and in that chance. Doyle, if he's actually able to get a top 3 finish here, this will help him, recuperate and send off in a charge for his life. And what I mean by that is basically he'll be able to sneak his way into the top 4 come that very final race here at Martinsville, as long as he can just pull off a decent showing. Lawrence, though, seemingly has different ideas, though. He's saying to Doyle, hey, wait a minute, I know you're in the race, but hey, man, we're still out here for a win here tonight. I don't really care about that playoffs anymore. Well, he ends up giving Doyle the old little bump and run there, a little sideways coming off, and a 3 wide intervenes. And look at this, Jaden Hobb, man, he is sneaking back behind all of them here. He had no troubles going to get in between them. Man, that was a hard little maneuver, a little hard racing capability device there. Aiden Doyle will back him off and get him into pit road. I think he's waiting for a pit road strategy and a little fuel and tire set here. May not be a bad idea the way you look at it here. The 81 of Jayden Hobb now moving closer and closer to Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. Looking to possibly take him as well here, looking to make a maneuver off him and make a pass for it. Really, to me, this is definitely crunch time for that 81. Knowing where he's at and what he's got at stake here, there's a lot at stake to give himself a breathing room or chance here. He is a #1 seed going in. He's showing you why he is that #1 seed for the playoffs and points race and all that, because he's just been dialing everything in and firing off. Lawrence now making a big maneuver off once again, but Hopp was able to keep him in play and keep him at bay. And now, looking back up front here for Derek Whitford, who's currently just kind of keeping his distance, kind of social distancing out more than I can think of in any other time in nature in 2021. Brandon Sheffield is not getting any speed off as much as I think he was hoping for. He is getting a 10th every now and then, but again, that 2/10 he lost on lap 42 just goes to show you that even with that gain of time, still isn't enough, because you're literally still having to march with and fight it out with a guy that pretty much had the race lead locked up from the start, and he hasn't given it up since then. Family member Darrell Whitford, though, in the 21, still doing what he can, giving himself a little bit of a decent showing, if I may add. And you can hear the throttle rhythm coming off there. Darrell having to back his corners up. Derek Whitford, though, has to go into pit road. New leader now presented. Brandon Sheffield taking over that race lead, and I think that may be the opportunity he was looking for. Going to tonight's race, though, here are the details here that you may want to know and see in this. The details going into tonight's action here. Open setup here. We have 3 sets of tires for these drivers, so those folks that already are going into pit road, like you see Brandon Sheffield now do, and Jayden Hopp staying out here, just kind of giving himself a little bit more leeway here. They will more than likely be going in for tires, and they will also be more than likely going in for fuel. Long run strategies play out at the best of the conveniences and circumstances here, and a lot of times it ends up being the driver that was outsmarting the rest of the field here that ended up winning it all. And right now, Hopp, in my opinion, is probably doing the best of that bunch, because he has been pretty much lights out on his cornering and his control of the car, not letting anything get to him, not really even thinking about anything other than just making sure that he's been soaked in and just perfecting these runs. And while the drivers get all situated in from pit road strategies and figure it out for the rest, will anybody be able to knock down Jayden Hopp from his perch? Well, we're going to find out when we return after the quick commercial message. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to Shake and Bake Icon Sim Sports Racing Cup Series right now. As we continue to progress through the race here and progress through our momentums and occasions. Such a momentous here tonight. Sounds like I may have had a little cut off on my end here, folks. Sorry about that. I know I've had all sorts of audio issues here tonight. I don't know how I keep getting stuck with this thing, but apparently the glitch graphic gremlins just love to come at me for of all things here. I'm not really sure why they like doing it, but hey, I guess if you gotta be likable, you gotta get a little bit in trouble too once in a while, right? So anyway, back to the field here, and the Mobile 1, number 24, Aiden Doyle now kicked back into second place, while Jaden Hobb continues to just lead the charge in, literally just staying out the longest of any driver out there. A lot of it doing just short run. Which again, I can't necessarily blame him for doing, but at the same time, you know, that long run versus that short run can end up being a bit of a benefactor later on. He pretty much lasts out there for about 150 laps from the way I'm looking at it, as he finally heads for pit road. Aiden Doyle, though, would have a long, hard charge already built up and a lot of hard racing down in there. They'll need to do with these pit stops tonight for that fuel run. And then, of course, average fuel length here is about 52 laps. Well, Hop just did about prove it. Yeah, it is about 52 laps that he had on that set. That's a big deal for him, and that's a big situation for him to work off of. With 3 green-white checkers and only 1 fast repair, they only have iRacing cautions to follow up. So Aiden Doyle taking the race lead away, but Derek Whitford, man, that number 44 is already looking to gain full ground and full advantage here as he continues to march ever so closer. You can see the distance between the two. Not very far off. You can see actually a little bit of ground clearance there. Good up. Aiden Doyle's going to be in big trouble here if he doesn't get something going here coming off of turn 4. The 24 looking to try to dive back down low and block off the run. The 44 Derek Whitford now looking to gain off of them there. He wants the Cool Breeze Mustang ahead of all of them. The team drag behind further up that 44 machine now sneezing his way in. The Cool Breeze Racing is going on board to the bottom. He sneaks his way around the track and gets a good run off. And Aiden Doyle is getting thrown up into no man's land. That's not where you want to go, Dan, sir. Aiden Doyle will lose the race lead away for now anyway, but again, you know, it's extremely early to say that it is not going to be enough time to get back up the bar with the speed that Derek Whitford is, and right now that drafting is already starting to play into effect here. Whitford, I think, though, is one of the biggest things that's going to really play out in his advantage, in my opinion, is probably the fact that he is very conducive to making sure he knows where his line's at, where his runs are, and just making the rest work where he wants it to. I just see them plummeting away here tonight. Here, obviously tonight, folks, we are, I believe, at the Legacy version of Texas Motor Speedway. If it was the night track, obviously we'd have night lights around here, but this is, I believe, the Texas Motor Speedway Legacy, because Legacy seems to be a little bit better when it comes to the racing and it comes to the runs here for a lot of drivers. And I would certainly agree. Little battle here coming off the corners here right now as I turn my camera head just for a minute here. We saw that Nia Lawrence Shaughnessy just sneak his way right and behind the side by side there. David Shipley right now. This is definitely not the track for him, and Andrew Griesbaum is making him pay for that more so than not. I think he's coming very well aware and self-indulgent on knowing when to make the moves and when to make the right calls. And so far, I think he's been very conservative on that call list and on that run list for all the right reasons. But you know, will they be able to make that last out the entire time? Because if you look at things, there's not a whole lot of advantages you can get from either running harder on the track or you get running slower on the track, especially if something like that happens. Jaden Hobb almost getting caught in the mix. And that is a big little understatement there. The 18 of Kevin Whitford gets to a sudden hold here. Major catastrophe nearly invaded. No caution thrown, but we'll take a look at the PTM instant replay of this one. Wow, that was a wild situation there between the 18 and the point sphere right now. That honestly could have been the difference between the season ending up bad and then ending out completely. Hop, the presence of mind, he drove it right through the grass and right through the infield and managed to hang it down, but ouch! The 18 U.S. Air Force afterburner there, unfortunately, of Kevin Whitford, not so lucky. We'll bring it back to the live feed here now as we are currently seeing Andrew Griesbaum trying to hold down Brad Ward. Brad still looking for a little bit of a runoff, a little bit of a momentum here to catch him back in. Maybe looking to try and see if there is something left within the Canadian boundaries. The border is open and he sneaks his way across it. Brad Ward now sneaking his way back on position. Griesbaum king right ahead, right behind him. I don't think Griesbaum was expecting him to do as well as he did out of the start and out of the gate, but man, it is working very well for him. Derek Whitford in the air of the moment, trying to possibly march and charge there. The Cool Breeze Racing 44, while Brandon Sheffield still rocketing in 6th place, spots up right now. He's currently our second hard charge of the night, third charge of the night, excuse me. Top ones being second being Nick Barassi, and then of course Edward Kane in the number 10, although he's currently in the number 39, being the other of the bunch. Yeah, Kane, I haven't really seen too much of him other than just the one time we kind of called for him a little bit. And I gotta say, right now, he has certainly been testing the waters, being very patient out there, very calm, cool, and collective. And I think that makes a difference here when it comes to this kind of racing, this kind of momentum. But ultimately, I think this boils down to one big thing, and that is there enough to last out for the whole list, the whole runoff? If you guys are new also to the show here and you've never seen us here on PTM Racing TV, first off, thanks so much, and please do, if you would, subscribe on around here and also share this one around. We got a lot of folks that do not know we are around and we are racing here, so leading it back up to the front right now here. You can see Aiden Doyle starting to back the corners off a little bit more and may have overdrove the turns just a little bit. And right now Lawrence Shanessi Jr. is making him very well aware of that, making him much more aware that he is not the favorite here tonight in this case, as we have now reached halfway point here. right into the corner stretches, into the zones. The 87 still looking to hang in there. Brad Warden knows he's got a little bit of work to do to get around Aiden Doyle. Aiden Doyle's not going to give anything up to him, though. He's not, I mean, that's like trying to say, the playoff driver here, hey, would you get in on my way so I can, win a race here? It's like, that doesn't work around here. You literally got to fight out for every spot and every chance you can get. And as a playoff driver, you can't give any openings to anyone out there, much less any chances for the long haul, because that can really cost you everything and then some. And if you think about it, that's really where the danger lies in. It's just trying to figure out which driver wants to actually play fair and nice, and those that are actually going to just give you a run off and give you a little bit of trouble or two. Well, I tell you one thing though here, coming back to Texas Motor Speedway, as much as I've said my piece about kind of why I feel like this track is not as liked or as loved anymore, and why I personally am not a huge fan of it, I will say that as a track-wise, it does hold a special place in PTM Racing TV's heart, because this was the very first track that was non-pedal to the metal related content that ever showed on PTM Racing TV. And what I mean by that is, the first time we ever broadcasted for a league that was not the pedal to the metal racing league here was back with the eNASCAR Outlaw Series, and it was this exact same track, Texas Motor Speedway. We called the races, we called the moments, and I kind of watched back on some of that stuff, and I watched back the racing, and man, I will say, commentating wise, boy, was that a whole different story. Some of that commentary stuff that we ended up doing, it was either just like, what were we thinking, or how did we even think that would go okay to get into transcripts? But at the end of the day, this track is a very, it will always hold that special place. So I can't say it's completely lifeless and void of anything. It does have one thing, which is basically, it was a track that we came to for the first time we ever showcased here on PTM Racing TV that was from another league. And yeah, it's kind of crazy now. I think we've worked with about 20 leagues in total at the most, about 15 at the least. There's been a lot of leagues in racing series that we've come across here on PTM Racing TV, and we've worked with. And that includes special events too. And it is absolutely a blast. It's kind of fun to reminisce on all the good times and just how crazy all that may have not have been if it weren't for the fact that we started it all down here. Right now on board here, Rocky Harpington, so you can just hear that throttle rhythm and momentum be built off on the corners there of turns 3 and 4. But notice a big change in the RPMs. Really has to back them down through in turn 1 and 2, because again, the way the banking is set, it's not designed to let you just exactly get away with it and give yourself a little breathing room or opportunity. It's basically designed to make sure it tests you and the other drivers on hanging down the line and hanging down the momentum. It certainly has been doing that. It certainly has done that and done some so far. Derek Whitford here, still right now your race leader. 75 laps in here this next time by, and I got a feeling, man, he's just currently just kind of waiting the strings out, kind of watching the races we go along. Not too worried about anything specific, not too worried about getting too rambunctious, just kind of saying to himself, alright, just kind of stay under control, stay under pressure, and let the car come to you, and that's really all you gotta do. As I say that, I don't think that's what we meant by the caution flying out here. There's trouble down there in turn 1 and 2. The 85, David Shipley, comes to a screeching halt. To the PTM Instant Replay we go here. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, Shipley, man, that is a hard little look there. He ends up driving it way too hard on the wall. Ends up into the grassy plain. You can see the front spoiler lifting off on that thing, and takes the cone out. And I think that was enough for the race truck to say, basically, no, we cannot have that happen. Shipley managed to get it refired and re-centered off, but unfortunately, damage has been done, and he did lose a little bit of positioning in the between there. But for him and his crew and his teammates right now, I gotta believe he's not too worried about that. Yes, there are teammates here. We'll talk more about that in a second. That was your PTM Instant Replay, brought to you in part by tonight, of course, by Icon Sim Sports. And while drivers get all cleared up around here and get six back up, still plenty of action to go here, and still plenty of racing to be had. Who will be able to walk away with the playoff position going into the next couple races? Find out when we return. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the Icon Sim Sports Shake and Bake Racing League Cup Series now, as we are currently still wheeling from the from David Shipley's unfortunate accident coming off of turn 4. Ended up getting himself into a bit of a bad spot, of a bad pickle here. Right now, currently under the caution lights of that pace truck there. The pace truck is currently getting everyone fielded back in. This is our first caution of the night as well. Yeah, kind of hard to believe of all things, because you would have thought with the way the racing was going, how clean it was, we were going to be able to stay green this entire time and go pretty much the whole long distance here, the whole 130 laps, but no. Yeah, once again, Old Texas just shows up and just makes sure that they're very well clear. You cannot over accentuate or get too confident around these parts. But for those that are coming on in right now, we have a few new drivers coming in. Fans, thank you so much. If you have also not already, subscribe here on our YouTube and share the stream around. Get some views on this one. The reason I say that is because this race will be broadcasted exclusively on Sunday nights here on YouTube. For the live stream wise, we'll put the race afterwards on Facebook so the fans can kind of tune in for that one. Just give a little double experience in that way. We certainly hope you've enjoyed it so far. We certainly hope you will continue to come on board here with us and have a little fun and have a little watch of the racing here. So on this restart here, Brandon Sheffield, number 210, will have, well, excuse me, the 96 down there, will have a little bit of work to do to get ahead of that 44 of Derek Whitford. I tell you what, man, Whitford right now, he could be the guy to beat. He could be the driver to knock down a few pegs, but he could also be literally the hardest driver to beat out. We'll bring him right back around out of turn 4 now, and it is time to get the Icon Sim Sports Shake and Bake Racing League back on track and back underway here. Back to the action we go. The tri-oval continues. And positions are going to start really wrapping around, really start mounting ahead. It's going to be a matter of which driver feels like they can make the right moves at the right time. And I certainly can tell you that one of them thinks they are making the wrong maneuvers now, because Brandon Sheffield is in trouble. He is already down in the infield just a little bit, but manages to bring it back up. But he lost so many positions just by getting way too hard on the throttle, ended up getting himself stuck in a bad spot. What a tough break for him and the crew. He's going to have so much work to do just to even get back in this. Not saying he can't get it done, but that's just a lot more extra needed unsanctioned space that he did not need to have. The number 10 here, that being Edward Kane, he is currently eyeing Andrew Griesbaum. Griesbaum's trying to hold him off, trying to keep him in play. The 0-1 of Brody Gunter, I think maybe trying to open up his racing Bible to excel. Ronicle's 9 of 10. When I look to the sky, I only trust in one, trust in the power of speed, and I'm going to go out and have some fun. And that is exactly what is going on down there, but the only downside for him is old Brad Ward. I think even in Canada they read the same Bible, because they are literally just running him down on the bottom. Who gave that man the book of speed? You don't just give that guy. That guy does not need the book of speed in his life. He's already got enough speed to begin with. How is he even doing this? Well, whatever the case may be, he's certainly not having any troubles or any fits when it comes to fighting it out amongst each other. It's time starting to elapse around here. Andrew Griesbaum even now kind of pulling the strings, pulling the momentum back up. It's a 0-1 of Brody Gunter. Tries to stay in rhythm, trying to stay in play. One key thing though I am liking right now is how well Andrew is being very cautious, very self-aware that Gunter is trying to maneuver and pace himself around, but he knows also that there could be company kind of sneaking his way in, that being Rocky Harpins. The 71 was up with the upper half earlier on, but now he is starting to become more of the upper crust and starting to truly show what he is capable of here. To be the upper crust around these parts, you best have a lot of talent, a lot of hard racing in your blood. And he is showing that, but there's also a lot of trouble there coming out the corners. Brody Gunter in the 0-1 Benzoil spun completely around on the back straightaway. We got a caution. Well, we watched it from the onboard camera here, what was transpiring there, but this was certainly a different look from a different angle. Here's another look at it. Bit of a surprise issue here. You can see Gunter just kind of slowly dabbled in, and the 71 had nowhere to go. That's the worst situation to get popped up into, and that's the worst kind of breaks you do not want to end up dealing with. See right there, that slight maneuvering down to the bottom spotter may not have explained that he was a little bit too close even for his own side. Remember, these drivers are very limited on their field view, and that definitely does not help any air around these parts. What a tough break for that 0-1. We saw him doing really good there for that moment, fighting it out amongst him and the 71 of Rocky Harpins. Now he'll have to hopefully gain it all back and get some speed built up as we're under our second caution of the night. So race fans, quite a few dilemmas popping up, a little bit of unfortunate circumstances with mixed in with a little wild racing, of course. Never seems to fail around these parts, never seems to give any too major issues. Derek Whitford right now, I gotta believe the only thing he is focusing on more than anything is just watching his tempo, watching his pace and himself around these parts. These cars are definitely no pushover. They are no gimmies with how you run them down. You basically go in for the run or you go off for the dive. So pace being brought back to a crawl. Everyone looking to possibly challenge the others in line, challenge themselves in their pacing, in their strategy. But again, you know, which one is going to be able to is going to have the best of it all. Keith Whitford right now, that's 06. He's been kind of a little bit of an understatement here tonight. I haven't really talked too much about him because really he hasn't even been up in the top half for a good chunk of the race. But that Sunkiss 06 is literally now in the top 5, and he qualified in second with fellow family member Derek Whitford, but yet he hasn't really, to me, hasn't really just shown what he's going to do or what he'll be capable of when he gets to that moment. And now he's just kind of in that spot where I feel like if you don't show what you're going to do and you really give themselves a bit of a breathing room or a bit of a haul here, then yeah, it's going to be very difficult to say the least what they'll bring to the table. Here the rev of the motors here. We're going to have about 41 laps left to go on point of restart. Shaughnessy now kind of intertwining up there with Whitford. It's going to be interesting to see which of these drivers make the most out of their circumstances and their situation and give themselves a ultimate opportunity to make it big and make it go as loud as they can get. Whitford and Shaughnessy are going to give everything they got here on that restart, and I guarantee it for Whitford, he is going to be very, very cautious and patient on what exactly he does as they continue to pace themselves around the track. The moment is about to arise. And I honestly, right now, if I was Andrew Grease Bomber, I was Brad Ward, and my first thought would be just to make sure these guys do not spin the tires out and don't spin your own tires out on this restart. We'll bring him off around out of turn 4. The green flag restart is up, and we're back underway. The Icon Sim Sports Race Cup Series of Shake and Bake Racing League right now is now up for the grabs, up for the spotlight. Some big moments arising, some big moments coming through in the corners here. Down that back straightaway, it is now make it or break it moments for some of these drivers. They know they cannot they cannot let up anything. They cannot give in to nothing. They just have to hope for the best. A little bit of maneuvering back down on a turn 2, 3, and 4. This time by Brad Ward. You can see that the lone Canadian is trying to knock down a few of the Americans, a few eggs here as Derek Whitford continues to run off. I think he's wanting to see this more than anything. He does not want to see any more company in him other than just drivers battling it up with themselves here, because he knows when they battle with themselves, they can burn their tires up and he can pretty much just have a smooth sailing ride to the victory lane. And that's exactly what these guys do not want anything to do with. They want to stay in the moment, stay in the charge. That's the only way you're going to win it. Down the back straightaway here, Whitford, Barassi, and Kane all jumping the gun on the fight zone. Aiden Doyle and Harpence, they are also kind of just keeping their distance and keeping themselves under check. They don't want to make too much of a ruckus, too much of a bad maneuvering here. But for Gunter, I think it really was just a matter of he knew where he was at and his goose was kind of cooked, but he's going to give it everything he's got to get back around that 24. Aiden Doyle blocking him off slightly here, giving him a bit of an opening or a bit of a charge or two. Back up to the race lead though. Look at this, Lawrence Shinesty making Derek Whitford pay for trying to get ahead so quickly and making him pay for literally trying to long run him out. The 9 of Lawrence is taking the race lead there. And leading a lap gives you some serious bonus points and giving you a little bit of a hand or two. He needs all the help he can get at this point. Lawrence again out of the championship hunt, but that does not mean he is out of the team hunt. At least he's got a team to work with here. Team points are on the line and on the chance here of possibly setting the tone for who will win it all here. Going off our team points here tonight here, currently the leader is with Cool Breeze Racing, which we see there in that 44. They're up 32.04, while Swamp Fox Motorsports has 30.2, 38.5, and Matthews Racing 29.666, and then HPD Racing Team 24.533 to be entirely for their troubles, if you will. Oh, a little bit of contact made there through out of turn 2. Good save there from Andrew Griesbaum, but oh, that's not the same case for everybody else. Oh my! And once again, it's going to be Brody Gunter and Rocky Harpence that get in the mix and the crux of this mess. Almost in that same area too. I'm not even sure where that came out of. Whoa. Well, Griesbaum was backing down, trying to settle him back in, and Brody was trying to do much of the same, but unfortunately for both drivers, they found themselves caught in between a rock and a hard place, and Harpence, more so than anything else, found him in the worst predicament possible. Had a good runoff coming in on the 0-1, and then 0-1 just slightly drove up, and yet solely nowhere to go really. Went from driving up to down. When you think that, you think, well, okay, we're going to escape that, but no, that's not the case. And now for Harpence, his night may just be over with. That is not going to get as fixed in as quick as he wants to. And I don't even know how he's going to feel about that, but Aiden Doyle looks to stay out here from pit road, and looks like maybe he'll take the charge here. So again, while they go under caution here and just kind of get everything figured out, we'll take it back one more time for our Icon Sim Sports commercial. Thank you for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you here in just one more one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, now here to the Icon Sim Sports Shake and Bake Racing League Cup Series here at the moment. Playoff contentions starting to be shaken around a little bit more as we go here. About 30 laps will remain on the point of a green flag restart. And I must say, right at this moment, this is beginning to be a bit more strenuous for drivers to make do on their bank and make do on their promise here to win this one out. And the way I'm seeing it, a lot of it has to do with just who is in the moment of play and who is in the race for the runoff to the end. So much you can do bad. There's so much bad you can do around here. The only thing they don't want to think about here is really just getting a little too crazy, getting a little too serious on driving it in there with these guys and driving in it way too much with them. They've got to just be more careful, be more sophisticated and unselfish when it comes to how they run off these guys on these drivers. And you hear the trev limiters getting up a little bit. They're trying to get the fuel lines cooked up a little more and open up the valves, open up the cars, and let them ride it out to the very end. 29 laps will remain on the restart. Which one of these drivers will be able to successfully obtain and confirm a victory here and a chance at immortality in the Shake and Bake Racing League with a championship hunt on their stake here. The best drivers all have championships to their name. They all have a victory to their credit. Tonight is absolutely no different. The 24 and the 9 are set in motion. They're set to possibly steal the show away. Will Aiden Doyle be able to somehow, and I mean some way, make this all work out and give himself the victory here? He certainly thinks he will, and he can as they go off out of turn 4. Green flag, charges up, there it is, and they are off and running once more. Facing in the laps are going to be a big factor here, and it's figuring out as well who gets the run off quickly here. Doyle already opens the door. Brad Ward, though, big trouble. He's upside down. He's cartwheeling. Upside down there, coming out of turn 3 and 4, spinning up and over, all the way down across the field. Major trouble for the number 87, and the lone Canadian might have just ended his night and his season off at Texas. With that hellacious flip there, what a tough little rack here. He's telling the officials he is okay, but I guarantee you mentally he's not too happy about this one. Look at this, he just overdrives it a little too hard and just car on a bad spot, bad place, and the 87 man, just look at that thing spin around here. Oh my goodness. It's the worst line you can think of. It's the worst playing field you can get yourself into. You can just see it too, man. He just literally overcorrected it. He thought he had it situated out, but the offset just sent him out of that world and into a nuclear world. That really is the worst place to get yourself caught into and really find yourself in, because again, you're just trying to keep this car online, trying to keep this track at play. You're trying to make sure you don't ruin your night and ruin your race outright, but it just can happen sometimes like that. So here we go. 24 laps left on the race. Timing and execution going to be the biggest benefactor to any of these drivers out here, and obviously to a lot of them as well. It's going to boil down to just how much control can they keep possession on their playing fields and on the track. We've seen it before where some of the best moments and teams come from just literally understanding and reading the grid and reading the field that they possess and they are on at that moment. You just gotta think right now that that is exactly how each one of these drivers is feeling. Each one of them is looking right at the moment. And basically keeping a close eye on their next move and on their next run. Well, they're going to find that next run here and now. 24 to go and 24 remain. Shaughnessy right now is making full use of advantage of that short run here from Texas. Everything clean for the most part. Every driver coming out unscathed. Got a turn 2 at least. Up front though, a little drive string side by side off the back end there. And Doyle managing to make it stick a little bit better there than Lawrence Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy trying to hold him back, trying to keep his game plan in motion. But Jaden Hopp is right behind all of them with the 44 there. Derek Whitford is making a hard immense of speed. It looks like up top goes Lawrence. He is straight on the bad. That's the bad side of the track you don't want to go to. They somehow manages to keep his speed and rhythm in play. How he is able to do that, I will never know. But nevertheless, when you get that outside line dialed up just enough for this open setup, it certainly does help out a bit. Derek Whitford, though, is right in the crust of it. He knows he can find an opening. He can strike it big if he can get that chance. Will he be able to do it? And will he be able to give himself a big moment booster for him in his career? Doyle looks like he might be slightly loose there off of turn 4. That's not a good sign. He's got to get that thing fired back up a little bit. Got to stay away from letting too much get away from him, give him more control over the track. Edward Kane now sneak his way in there with maybe perhaps the surprise of the night here in Jaden Hopp. Hopp knows he's going to start making some runs off. He's going to have to start making some speed into this one. Aiden Doyle is starting to fade badly. He's starting to fade worse than I think he realizes. This is not looking good. This is actually getting very bad. Bad situation here popping a rise. But more so than anything, you can see the buildup of speed Derek Whitford is possessing to get around Lawrence Shaughnessy. Shaughnessy is going to have 19 laps left to go to secure a win and a victory, if you will, over some of the best and even the brightest, with the playoff picture being even more centered around. Aiden Doyle here, you can see he is still trying to get draft line, trying to get any kind of help, anything for Derek Whitford. He knows if he just loses it the slightest bit, well, he will find himself in a bit of a more of a mess than I think he wants to even think about at this time. Whitford still looking to give a runoff, trying to get something going down there. Andrew Griesbaum down in as well. The 66 and Nick Barassi here is continuously giving him a bit of a troublesome headache, if you will. Look out to how close it is between these two drivers. Now maybe 3 here, because here comes Keith Whitford now in the mix. The Whitford clan seems to be finally figure something out here. Might have something left in the tank. to talk about just finding an opportunity to strike at the best of times and making sure you knew what you were up to at the best other times. Right behind him there, you see that 5, Daniel Walker. We haven't even talked about him really all night long. He's actually in that playoffs hunt too. We saw what he did back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, what he did last time out at the Charlotte Roval. Kind of finding himself in a bit of a pickle and a bit of a bad circumstance or two every now and then. But nevertheless, he would still give it everything he had. He was still trying to run his tail end off and help for the best. And you know, you gotta give credit where credit's due to him and that crew. Never once did he give out. Never once did he let it give into his own shenanigans. Battle for the race lead is still commencing up there. There are no opportunities left. Only just strike it big and strike it hard when you find it. Derek Whitford was seemingly giving him plenty of opportunities to get ahead of Lawrence, but Lawrence just continues to just mount the throttle and mount the pressure even more so than anything. Lawrence, if he's got to make sure he stays over and under, does not let the tires burn down, not let the car get caught into a bad spot. He knows that is the only way he will survive and conquer this one. Coming back around out on the back straightaway here. Looks like Sheffield, Hop, Kane all looking to make last minute decisions, last minute opportunities to strike it hard. Whitford's looking to make maybe a move in two. A good move out of turn 4. Keith Whitford is starting to make everything work and make it count against Jaden Hop. Points later, Hop is going to be in desperate trouble and desperate pleading for help here. That is for certain. Andrew Griesbaum even now kind of making a little bit of a tail whip around. Maybe look at a little battle in between. Ladies and gentlemen, this time by, we are down to the final 10 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. Will the 9 of Lawrence Shaughnessy be able to hold down Mr. Derek Whitford? Whitford is literally within inches of finally claiming another W. To be his first win ever here on PTM Racing TV. Lawrence is not going to give him a breather though. He can't either. He has to keep himself in that same spot, that same line that Derek wants to hit. Otherwise, really, he's going to get himself into a bad spot, into a bad pickle. Yeah, Derek is just going to be amazed right now that Derek has even been able to hold on as long as he did. Usually by now, most drivers would have burnt up the tires. They would have burnt up the run of the fuel line, but yet still, somehow, some way, just continues to stay in it, stay with the end. Now again, custom setups are definitely a big help on that, but I think more so than anything, it's been basically whether or not if you have even anything left in the tank, if you have anything left on the track to even play it off with. Edward Kane even now is starting to actually be a little bit of a shocker here. I was not expecting that number 10 of all things to kind of sneak up behind him, but if either one of these drivers make a wrong move, Kane actually is going to take this from him. We saw what other drivers were trying to do, like Jaden Hopp, when it came to the long fuel run, but it did not play to their advantage. Shaughnessy is giving it everything they can, doing what they need to do. Derek Whitford is much of the same. It looks like actually now Whitford is starting to fade slightly, giving the door opening there to Kane. Kane is going to make a move off with only 5 laps to go. This is where golden opportunities are going to get taken away, and they're going to be splintered in two if you don't do something quickly. You gotta either come up with a good, strong defense, or you best figure out how to get back on offense as soon as possible, because this is definitely not the same case. And there it is, a big opening there for Kane. He saw it, but he did not conquer it. It was Whitford that was able to conquer him and able to take him back for another ride or two off that corner. Still, it is anybody's guess which of these ones will play out the better of the two. Four to go. This time by it goes 3 to go, Nan. 3 laps left in this one. And then number 9, Shaughnessy is loving every minute of what he's seeing behind him. Whitford trying to block and defend off Kane. Kane trying to get a runoff on the bottom end, trying to make his pass. There is the charge. There's a challenge up for the bottom, and even Brandon Sheffield, the 96 now intervening as well. No way in heck would you have thought that these guys would have done this as clean as they did, but they have certainly indeed. Jaden Hopp's got to be loving the fact that his points lead will not be too far away from position. But with only 2 laps to go, Shaughnessy just needs to punch 8 more turns in to his time card, and he'll have this one wrapped all the way up. The other Whitford here is still dealing with Griesbaum here for that final top 5 spot. That top 5 spot is definitely going to mean a lot more than I think they realize here. Alpha turn 4. The white flag is out this time by for Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr. Lawrence had troubles at the Roval the last time we saw him here at Texas Motor Speedway. That couldn't have been farther from the truth. For Edward Kane, I think this was a race just poised and designed to just show that he can make it and break it out around here, even with the best and the toughest of the sport has to offer. But Alpha turn number 3 and 4. This is all going to Shaughnessy. He will win here at Texas Motor Speedway, and a strong showing for the number 9 team. Edward Kane walks away second. Third goes to Brandon Sheffield. Fourth to Jaden Hopp. Fifth to Keith Whitford as he crashes it right down on the front straightaway to end it out. And Lawrence, man, gotta be thrilled with this one, knowing that earlier on it could have gone either way, and he wasn't even probably thinking that he was even going to come away with a W, much less anything other than just hopefully a top 5. But that's how luck can sometimes be your best friend, sometimes can be your worst of enemies for some others. Gotta celebrate with some strong donuts out here, and he certainly is doing that and then some. Race fans, we're going to go ahead and take it down now and talk with our top 3 drivers. We're joined now here on pit road here right now with our 3rd place finisher tonight, Brandon Sheffield. And Brandon, you know, you talked about this beforehand. This was going to be one of the tougher tracks for you guys to master for, you know, maybe not the reasons most people would think, but for the most part, you handled the tires well, you kept your nerves at bay, and for the most part, the car ended up working out all right in your favor.
Yeah, that car is just super, super edgy. So it's tough to have consistency lap to lap, and then it started to get really loose towards the end of the run. So you were wheeling the whole run, and it was just hard to keep speed and being consistent from lap to lap. But fun race, fun track. I always like running with these guys. Really enjoy that they let me come fill in when they do. So, but yeah, tough race, and a car that was just edgy the whole race.
It really was indeed, but at the end of the day, man, you still had a lot going on, a lot of battles to rage and war against, but you ended up working it pretty well in your favor here. So I gotta ask you, Brandon, as you're coming away with a third place finish, is there anybody you want to thank you for that one tonight?
I got to thank the Swamp Fox guys for letting me come fill in tonight. Got to thank the Shake and Bake boys for putting on such a great league. Every series they have is awesome. Love racing with them. Got to thank my normal team, GDR, Ed, Nick, Brad. We're all here tonight, so that was fun. Kind of fun to have all of us in this race. And got to thank you for putting the broadcast on.
Oh, I certainly appreciate coming on board here and having a little listen in and just kind of tuning in with us here, there, Brandon. So congratulations, nevertheless, though, here with the third place finish, and we will certainly see you guys very, very soon, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your third place finisher here tonight, Brandon Sheffield, walking away with that. Second place will go to Edward Kane. And Kane, honestly, I don't think many drivers or fans, myself included, were expecting you to kind of sneak your way in as well as you did. But my friend, you ended up pulling off quite a few stops there and a great last-minute battle there with the Whitford family and boys. How was that for you and your crew?
Well, I mean, it was great. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I ran a open race here earlier this week or two, and I was awful. I mean, I was just out to lunch, and the last 15 minutes of practice tonight, Brandon actually helped me with some entries into turn one, and really that last run is where I was really able to kind of pick up some speed. But you're racing against Lawrence, and Lawrence always runs A cars well. He's a master of them. He's great at it. So I mean, if I had a couple more laps, I'd like to get to his fenders to see what would have happened. But hey, listen, I started in the back. I kind of just worked my way up a little bit. I got into that little incident with Andrew there, and if Andrew's listening, of course, I'm sorry about that. Got a little tight and just kind of got in the same spot there. And of course, he's running for championship. I'm not. I'm kind of here trophy hunting. So I hate to ruin someone else's bad night over that. But it was quite a night. I have nothing more to say except it was a good night, and happy to do it again. Hopefully, we'll do it again next week in Kansas.
Well, we certainly hope to see what will happen and transpire down there at Kansas, of course, there. So, nevertheless, though, as you're coming away with a second place finish here tonight at Texas, is there anybody you want to thank you for that?
Sure. First, I'll thank Sean because Sean Ryan he ducked out at the last minute tonight and it allowed me to come in and kind of take his ride. So hope I got a good second place finish. I hope he's happy with that and all his RHPD teammates. I did them proud tonight. I'll also give a quick shout out to my GDR guys. Nick, Brandon, Brad. We're all here tonight. We didn't get a win, but second and third isn't bad either.
Yes,
And Sean ran a race the other night, and he won. And he has a charity called I think it's for Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's Association of America that I made a donation to when he won the race Tuesday night. So if anyone's interested in making a donation, please reach out to Sean. He'll tell you the page to do it for. And other than that, I got nothing. Thanks for putting on a great broadcast.
I appreciate coming on board once again, and once again, a big battle here to the very end. A surprise finish, though. Nevertheless, Edward King, congratulations on that second place finish, sir.
Thanks, buddy.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, he joins me here in Victory Lane here at Fort Worth, Texas, Texas Motor Speedway. This is going to be Lawrence Shaughnessy. And Lawrence, boy, yeah, I know you didn't have to travel too far around in the desert from Nevada down here to Texas, but boy, you had a lot of big breaks coming your way and a little bit of help with that speed coming in to build up. Talk about this last bit, man. You had to literally stage ahead of Kane and make sure you staged ahead of Sheffield and even Whitford when he was fighting with you. Seemed like you had this one dialed up, but it never seemed like the track was going to give it to you that easily.
Yeah, the track temperature actually really threw me a curveball. I've been running A open all week, and it's been like 86, 87 in those sessions, and to jump in here with 117-degree track temp really kind of threw me off. I didn't know how the car was going to react long run. It was pretty good, a little bit tighter than it's been all week. I wasn't real happy with it, but nevertheless, we came out in victory lane. Yeah, it was a good race. Derek had a ton of speed, and then Ed and Brandon there at the end. I was getting a little nervous. I was looking at the laps left more than I was out the windshield because I knew Ed and Brandon were coming to take my lunch money there, but we got her done nevertheless. And cautions kind of fell right. Got a little behind early. Got into it with the 01. And we couldn't really recover until the cautions fell right. So I feel like I lucked myself into this one again. 2 in a row. 3 for 3 in the races that I run in this league. It's been a blast, and I don't know where all this success is coming from, but I'll take it.
Take it with what you can. Make sure you have your lunch money still in your own hands and not anyone else's, my friend, and that will end up walking you away here with the W here tonight. So I got to ask you, sir, is there anybody you want to thank you for this finish?
Yeah, of course. Rocky and the boys over at eSpeed. We were missing a couple of guys tonight. Alan and Robbie missed those guys tonight, but they were here in spirit. Got to thank the boys over at Highside, Alan, Chris, Mitchell, Presley, all those guys. They make racing every night on this simulator, as frustrating as it can be, a whole lot of fun. Got to thank Mom for tuning in. She texted me right after the checkered flag flew. I think she had it ready just to send because I was kind of out there towards the end. Sponsors of the team: Bumper Thumper Traction Compound, RacetoolsDirect.com, Competition Auto Body, B&K Root Beer Stand, everybody that supports us, everybody that we run on the car. And you, Christian, for putting on a good broadcast. I'll go back and watch it. Didn't get a chance. I had the Steelers game on, and it's getting tight. So, and then finally, Aiden and all the boys over here at Shake and Bake for letting me come out here and run, kind of get a feel, put my feet in the water for next season when we run full time for a championship. I hate to be the guy that comes in and doesn't let a playoff driver lock in. I definitely think Derek had a better car than me tonight. Just like I said, the cautions fell the right way, and I was able to control the restarts a little bit and keep them behind me. But yeah, it was good fun.
All good fun and all is fair and love and war, and hopefully the Steelers can end up doing what my Packers did earlier and pull off a W, but we'll see what happens for your crew and your team. But nevertheless, you have a W in your name here tonight, Texas. Congratulations, Lawrence, and it's great to see you back here in the top spot once more, sir.
Yes, sir. Hope to talk to you next week.
Sir, certainly indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner here tonight, Lawrence Shaughnessy Jr., coming away home in that number 9 machine. And race fans, that's all going to do it here tonight for your showcase here, YouTube live session here. Exclusively here, we'll have the race broadcast shown over on PTM Racing TV for Facebook. But again, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube end for exclusive content when we bring it around, as well as obviously content for the Facebook end there to make sure you catch all the replays and all the stuff you need in one place, one time. It certainly does help our channel out and help us out for the long haul, and we hope you enjoy it. But for now, as we progress through and call this one a night, please be safe. God bless. Take care. We love you guys from the bottom of our hearts. See you next time when the green